Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. We're talking about trait number 10, traits of true believers. So what did I say before? We should all cooperate together with each other, regardless of our religion, regardless of our background and our ethnicity and nationality, our languages and everything else for that matter, in creating a society that is better for everybody, for common good. Remember that, my brothers and sisters. Common good is that which is good for everybody else. Everybody around. Myself, my family, my neighbors, my society, entire country and the world. The problem with the modern world is too many people are only interested in themselves. It's me and me. That's all. Even the countries are run on self-interest, national interest. You know, for as long as we serve only myself and my ego and my selfish needs, I will only see a miserable world. For as long as I see and I pursue what we call in the national interest of my country and my people, I will only see a miserable world. We want to create a world which is fair and peaceful for everybody. So to do that, we need to cooperate in common good and list the common good. Sign up to common good. And that's why I'm calling it alliance of virtue. What should we not be cooperating in? Allah makes it very clear. وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. And do not cooperate in things that create harm, cause harm. وَالْعُدْوَانِ, and create enmity, hatred between people. Distrust, malice, malevolence, things that are negative for the society. So what is harmful? War is harmful. We should not cooperate in war. Terrorism is harmful. We should never support terrorism. Extremism is harmful. We should never support extremism. Occupation of people's land and property is harmful. We should never support occupation. Violation of human rights is harmful. We should never support violation of human rights, because violation of human rights is harmful for everybody. We should never support proliferation of poverty, inequality that we see in the society and the world, the usurpation of the wealth. 1% of the population of the world own more than 80% of the world's wealth. That's not right. We should not support that because that's harmful. Unaccountable leadership, harmful. Too powerful country for the world. One country becoming too powerful, harmful. We should not support any of those. Despotism, we should not support. Dictatorship, we should not support. Corruption, we should never support. All of those things we should not support because they are harmful. So when Allah says don't cooperate in harmfulness or things that harm, He means all of this, both collective and individual. Let's take the example of how much harm that has been caused by corruption in many countries. Take the example of Bangladesh. You know, you can't get a birth certificate without paying somebody a bribe. You can't get a train ticket without paying somebody some bribe. Can you believe without giving money to the political elite, you can't go anywhere. In other parts of the world, such as Nigeria, such as Pakistan, many parts of the world, corruption is the destructive force that destroys the backbone of a society. We can't support corruption. We can't support nepotism that we see in the Middle East. We can't support dictatorship that we've seen reigning in many parts of the world. We can't support any of that. And you know what we can never support is injustice. Injustice against anybody is injustice against all of us. So Allah wants us not to cooperate in any of those things. If you stand silently watching people perpetrate those harmful things, you become part and parcel of the problem. You don't become part of the solution. So a Muslim can't be passive. A true believer doesn't cooperate but actively promotes the goodness. Actively promotes the goodness. And we should never, ever, under any circumstances, endorse or condone terrorism in any part of the world, whether it is perpetrated by an individual or a state or a group of people. Whoever perpetrates terrorism has become uncivilized, unworthy of being called a human being. Terrorism causes fear, death and destruction, unfortunately, is an entity with no face and nothing tangible. We cannot support that. So when Allah says, don't cooperate, وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ, do not cooperate in things that are harmful. All the things that I've just said and more could be harmful. We should not cooperate in drugs. Anyone who sells drugs, anyone who buys drugs, anyone who watches drugs being sold and bought and doesn't do anything. It's part and parcel of the same. We should not support child abuse. We should not support sexual exploitation. We should not support exploitation of any nature. We should not support what we see in our society in many ways, destroying and destructive forces playing in the playgrounds of our societies, in our children's hearts and minds as they're being corrupted. Pornography, gang culture, criminality. A good Muslim cannot support that, can never support that. Brothers and sisters, and that which causes enmity, mistrust, enmity and mistrust, backbiting does, slandering does, breaking your promise does. Anything that causes enmity in a society. If I go around labeling people, if I call people by names that are derogatory, if I insult people, if I attack people's integrity and honor, if I belittle them, if I mock them, it causes enmity. It causes resentment in the heart of the other person. And no resentment and no heart, unless resolved, can be good for anybody. So I want you to be very clear. Allah wants us to cooperate in good things, and He does not want us to cooperate in bad things. Simple in the layman's language. Brothers and sisters, so ask ourselves this question. Are you involved in anything that is good? Are you involved collectively in promoting good? Have you joined up with people in creating alliance of virtue to create a society that is based on fairness, justice, goodness, and all the things that we aspire to? And are you actively doing things against things that harm us individually and collectively? If you are, then you have done what we call fulfilling the traits of a good believer, true believer. Trait number 10, cooperating and establishing alliance of virtue. But if you're not doing that, you're just being bystander, you are not being productive, then guess what? You are also part of the problem. So here are some suggestions. If there are no groups in your local area, set up your own. There are so many charity organizations today. When I say charity organizations, I mean charity both of the nature that gives food as well as creates social projects. So works against drugs, works against alcohol abuse, works against child abuse, works against sexual exploitation, domestic violence, promotes goodness. There are so many. Sign up with any one of them. Don't wait, because that is becoming one of those true believers who are committed to alliance of virtue. There are so many hundreds and thousands of organizations nationally and locally that you could join and benefit the world. If there isn't one, set one by yourself. Get your friends to sign up. Do something. For not doing anything is not an option for a true believer. So, most important tip I can give you today is find an organization that you like, you agree to their philosophy, you agree to their work plan, and sign up. Give some time voluntarily. Don't just pursue money. Don't just chase your material need. Give your soul some food. Alliance of virtue is the only way we can keep our community safe, keep ourselves safe, and create a society that is cohesive, that is deeply embedded in each other's care, compassionately, and committed to fairness and justice for the world at large. Brothers and sisters, I hope and I pray that you do take a bit of time in joining or creating such alliances in your neighborhood, in your locality. I also pray that Allah grants your work and gives you best of this world and the hereafter. Well, I'm going to say goodbye for today, but our next one, inshallah, will be talking about another trait of a true believer. So do join us then. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.